about resting membrane potential. Resting membrane potential. It is potential difference across the cell membrane at rest. So potential difference across the cell membrane at rest is resting membrane potential. Keep in mind that all the living cell membranes have resting membrane potential. The value of resting membrane potential, it varies in different tissues. It varies in different tissues. Resting membrane potential in the nerve fiber is minus 70 millivolt, is in the nerve fiber. In the skeletal muscle, minus 90 millivolts, so minus 90 millivolts in the skeletal muscle. Smooth muscle, minus 50 to minus 60 millivolts. Smooth muscle, minus 50 to minus 60 millivolts. In SA nodal fibers in the heart, there are sinoatrial nodal fibers. In SA nodal fibers, it is minus 55 to minus 60 millivolts. So in SA nodal fibers, it is minus 55 to minus 60 millivolts. How can we record the resting membrane potential? How can we record the resting membrane potential? One silver chloride electrode, microelectrode. So silver chloride microelectrode is placed into the, say, muscle fiber or nerve fiber. The second electrode, microelectrode, is placed on the surface of the fiber. You see? This is one microelectrode inserted into the nerve fiber or muscle fiber. And the second electrode is placed on the surface of the nerve fiber or muscle fiber. So these two microelectrodes are connected to the recording apparatus, which shows the resting membrane potential. In this case, it is minus 90. It is minus 90 millivolts in this case. Now, when you say resting membrane potential, it means inside is negative with respect to outside. When you say resting membrane potential, it is inside negative with respect to outside. Inside negative with respect to outside. Say this is a muscle fiber or maybe a nerve fiber. It is minus 90 millivolts inside negative with respect to outside. What is the mechanism of resting membrane potential? Mechanism of resting membrane potential. In the last lecture, I told you that in the cell membrane, there are potassium-sodium leak channels or potassium leak channels. You see? Potassium leak channels or potassium-sodium leak channels, having a selectivity filter which allows potassium ions to diffuse out. And also in the cell membrane, there is a sodium-potassium bond. There is sodium-potassium bond. I told you last time that these potassium leak channels are 100 times more permeable to potassium as compared to sodium. 100 times more permeable to potassium as compared to sodium. We can say that at rest, cell membrane is 100 times more permeable to potassium. At rest, cell membrane is 100 times more permeable to potassium. Then you come to the sodium-potassium pump, which is active all the time. It pumps out 3 sodium ions and pumps in 2 potassium ions. 2 potassium ions. I told you last time also that potassium is 35 times greater inside the cell as compared to outside. You see, potassium is 140 milliequivalent per liter inside, outside 4 milliequivalent per liter. So 35 times greater potassium inside the cell. What about sodium concentration? Outside the cell, in the extracellular fluid, sodium is 10 times greater. So outside the cell, or nerve fiber or muscle fiber, sodium is 10 times greater. Inside the nerve fiber or muscle fiber, potassium is 35 times greater inside as compared to outside. Now when cell membrane is 100 times more permeable to potassium at rest, and there is 35 times greater potassium inside the cell, and there is also sodium-potassium pump active all the time in the cell membrane. Now we come to the mechanism of the resting membrane potential. Mechanism of resting membrane potential. The major mechanism is, the major factor involved is outward diffusion of potassium through potassium leak channels. So major factor involved is, the major mechanism is outward diffusion of potassium through potassium leak channels. You know, at rest, the cell membrane is 100 times more permeable to potassium as compared to sodium. And potassium is 35 times greater inside the cell. So outward diffusion of potassium through potassium leak channels, this is the major factor involved in the resting membrane potential, that is, inside is negative with respect to outside. Potassium is 35 times greater inside the cell, inside the fiber. So it tends to move out. So outward potassium diffusion is the major factor involved in the resting membrane potential, because the cell membrane, the fiber membrane is 100 times more permeable to potassium. And potassium is 35 times greater inside the nerve fiber, muscle fiber as compared to outside. Now keep in mind, if resting membrane potential is minus 90 millivolts, out of minus 90 millivolts, minus 86 millivolt is because of the outward potassium diffusion. Is because of the outward potassium diffusion. So out of minus 90 millivolts, minus 86 millivolt is due to outward potassium diffusion. activity of sodium-potassium pump is also involved in the resting membrane potential. You see that 3 sodium ions are pumped out while 2 potassium ions are pumped in. Right? And this generates electronegativity inside nerve fiber or muscle fiber to give the resting membrane potential. So out of minus 90 millivolts, minus 4 millivolt is because of the activity of the sodium potassium pump. Right? So keep in mind, out of minus 90 millivolts, the resting membrane potential minus 4 millivolt is due to activity of the sodium potassium pump. I again repeat that outward potassium diffusion, it produces minus 86 millivolt out of minus 90 millivolts of the resting membrane potential. And activity of sodium potassium pump, it contributes only minus 4 millivolt in the total resting membrane potential of minus 90 millivolts. So this is the mechanism of the resting membrane potential. Now how can you prove the mechanism of the resting membrane potential? How can you prove it? The first proof is that changes in potassium concentration in the extracellular fluid have marked effect on the resting membrane potential. Changes in potassium concentration in the extracellular fluid has marked effect on the resting membrane potential. In hypokalemia, the resting membrane potential becomes more negative. And this is called hyperpolarization. Hyperpolarization. So in hypokalemia is when there is low plasma potassium concentration. So when there is low potassium concentration in the plasma or extracellular fluid, it is called hypokalemia. Now when there is low plasma potassium or low potassium in the ECF, extracellular fluid, potassium will tend to diffuse out more because of low potassium outside. So when potassium tends to diffuse out more, inside becomes more negative. Inside becomes more negative, and this is called hyperpolarization. Hyperpolarization. Now in contrast, when there is hyperkalemia, now in hyperkalemia, plasma potassium becomes more. In hyperkalemia, there is more plasma potassium, or there is increased potassium concentration in the extracellular fluid. So when there is more potassium outside, definitely less potassium will diffuse out. Less potassium will diffuse out. Inside becomes less negative. Inside becomes less negative. So in hyperkalemia, the resting membrane potential becomes less negative. In hypokalemia, it becomes more negative. more negative, and that is called hyperpolarization. So in hypokalemia, there is hyperpolarization, more negative resting membrane potential. In hyperkalemia, less negative resting membrane potential. Now we have seen that potassium concentration changes in the extracellular fluid have marked effect on the resting membrane potential. When more potassium outside, there is less negative resting membrane potential. Less potassium outside the cell or fiber, there is more negative resting membrane potential, that is called hyperpolarization. Changes in sodium concentration. Changes in sodium concentration in the extracellular fluid have no significant effect on the resting membrane potential. So changes in sodium concentration in extracellular fluid has got no significant effect on the resting membrane potential. So this proves the mechanism that the outward potassium diffusion, it is the major factor involved in the resting membrane potential. We can also prove this mechanism by the Nernst equation. By the Nernst equation. Nernst equation is this is the Nernst equation. E, electrical potential in millivolt. I am telling you the Nernst equation. E, electrical potential in millivolts, is equal to minus 61 log concentration inside divided by concentration outside. I am telling you about the Nernst equation, that is the electrical potential in millivolt is equal to minus 61 log of concentration inside divided by concentration outside. This is the Nernst equation. Let us assume that the cell membrane at rest is much permeable to sodium. So we first assume that cell membrane at rest is highly permeable to sodium. So in that case, you put sodium concentration in this equation, 14 inside sodium, 140 outside sodium, 140 outside, and this will be 14 over 140. And that is equal to minus 1. So minus 1 log of 0.1. You see, 61 log of minus 1. Because 14 over 140 is 0.1. And log of 0.1 is minus 1. And that comes to plus 65 millivolt. It comes to plus 65 millivolt. So keep in mind, 14 over 140, 0.1, minus 60 log of 0.1. Log of 0.1 is minus 1. So 61 minus 61 multiplied by minus 1, this will come to plus 61 millivolt. Plus 61 millivolt. Now if resting membrane potential in the mechanism of this, if cell membrane is highly permeable to sodium at rest, then there must be a potential difference of plus 61 millivolt across the cell membrane. There must be a potential difference of plus 61 millivolt across the cell membrane if our assumption, that is, the cell membrane at rest is highly permeable to sodium, is correct. So is it plus 61 millivolt resting membrane potential? No. So over this assumption is not correct, that is, the cell membrane at rest is highly permeable to sodium. Now our second assumption is that at rest the cell membrane is highly permeable to potassium. At rest, the cell membrane is highly permeable to potassium. So we put potassium concentration 140 inside, 4 outside. How much? 35 times. So 61 log of 35. Is 60 log of, so log of 35. So log of 35 is 1.54, and this comes to minus 61 multiplied by 1.54, that's the log of 35. This will be equal to minus 94 millivolt. Minus 94 millivolt. And what is the resting membrane potential? Minus 90 millivolts. So this minus 94 millivolt is very near to the minus 90 millivolt, the resting membrane potential. So it means, well, this assumption is true, that resting membrane potential is due to outward potassium diffusion, and the cell membrane at rest is highly permeable to potassium. So by Nernst equation, we have proved that the outward potassium diffusion is the major factor involved in the resting membrane potential. Resting membrane potential. So this plus 61 millivolt is called Nernst potential for sodium. Plus 61 millivolt is called Nernst potential for sodium. And minus 94 millivolt is called Nernst potential for potassium. So plus 61 millivolt Nernst potential for sodium, and minus 94 millivolt is called Nernst potential for potassium. Right? So by Nernst equation, we have proved the mechanism of the resting membrane potential. We can also determine the resting membrane potential by the Goldman-Hodgkin-Katz equation. So we can also prove the mechanism of resting membrane potential by the Goldman-Hodgkin-Katz equation. And that is E, electrical potential in millivolt, is equal to minus 61 log of C concentration of sodium, sodium I, inside concentration, sodium concentration. So sodium I mean inside sodium concentration, into P sodium. P is permeability, C is concentration, sodium inside the nerve fiber, muscle fiber. P is permeability of sodium, right? And then plus C, Ki, potassium inside concentration, P permeability of potassium, plus C concentration of chloride outside. It is negative one, so it will be outside chloride concentration into P chloride, that is the permeability of the chloride. And then C concentration sodium outside P sodium, its permeability. C, potassium concentration outside. P is its permeability. And then chloride concentration outside, inside, and then P is its permeability of the chloride. Right? This is the Goldman-Hodgkin-Katz equation, and by this equation, the potential comes to minus 86 millivolt. Now, what was the Nernst equation for potassium? Minus 94 millivolt. Now, keep in mind the potassium-sodium leak channels are much less permeable to sodium. There is some inward sodium diffusion. Or inward diffusion of sodium ions. And this creates a potential of plus 8 millivolt. So minus 94 millivolt is the Nernst potential for potassium. Plus 8 millivolt is the potential generated by inward diffusion of sodium. Right? And their difference is again minus 86 millivolt. Minus 86 millivolt. So minus 86 millivolt is because of the ionic diffusion, outward potassium diffusion, inward sodium diffusion, mainly the outward potassium diffusion, which contributes a potential difference of minus 86 millivolt. Minus 4 millivolt is due to activity of the sodium potassium pump. So minus 86 plus minus 4, it will be minus 90 millivolt. That is the resting membrane potential. So I repeat that outward potassium diffusion is the major factor involved in the resting membrane potential, and it contributes a potential difference of minus 86 millivolt. So major factor is outward potassium diffusion through potassium leak channels, which are 100 times more permeable to potassium as compared to sodium. Activity of sodium potassium pump contributes just minus 4 millivolt to the resting membrane potential. Right? So it must be clear with the Nernst potential for sodium plus 61 millivolt, Nernst potential for potassium minus 94 millivolt, and the potential contributed by inward sodium diffusion, that is plus 8 millivolt. So this was about the mechanism of the resting membrane potential.